Brighter and dimmer, and it was just so huge, and it didn't make a noise, and that's what scared me.
The next morning, Cindy Bridges discovered a circular indentation in a nearby soybean field, directly beneath where they had first seen the lights.
We didn't know at first, how large it was. We found out later it was 44 feet in diameter, and it was a perfect circle. And the weeds and everything were smashed down, but not to the ground. They were like 6 to 8 inches above the ground, and they were intertwined together so much that if you tried to pick it up, the whole thing would come up with it.
These two housewives weren't the only ones to have noticed something strange the night of November 3rd. There were 19 separate reports of sightings of strange lights in the Greenfield area that night. This particular incident has attracted the attention of the Center for UFO Studies at Northwestern University. Their investigation of the incident continues.
Chris Lado, welcome to Lado Files. What's up, guys? Welcome. What do you think of that crop circle? This week and past 2 weeks, I've been investigating crop circles, and man, it is a deep rabbit hole when you look into crop circles. Like that one you just saw there, was it created by a UFO, or what most debunkers or skeptics say is that it's created by humans? Interesting article from Physics World. Coming to a field near you. Serious studies of crop circles have long been hampered by conspiracy theories and the secret nature of circle makers, plus scientists' reluctance to engage with a fringe topic. It seems like there was a lot of data, a huge kind of movement back around 2000. Colin Andrews, he's done a ton of research into this from the UK. He's invented literally the term crop circles. But that also brings a problem, right? Because then all your information comes from one source. If we go right to the conclusions here, very interesting, is at a glance, okay? First reported in the 1600s, these patterns appear around the world at a rate of one every evening. So it's primarily seems centered in the UK, is a warning flag for me. But like they said, there's a rate of one every evening around the world. So it is global phenomena, but again, it could be spread by people. The patterns, which can feature up to 2,000 individual shapes, are often built using hidden mathematical relationships such as diatonic ratios. One evening in July 1996, I was staying above a country pub near Avebury in Wiltshire, enjoying a week's holiday drive around the prehistoric sites of southern England. In the middle of the night, I awoke to the hushed sounds of 3 men talking in the car park below. They were huddled around a large sheet of paper, and after 15 minutes of furtive discussion, they sped off down a country line. That same evening, 195 crop circles spanning a total of 115 meters appeared in a nearby field at Windmill Hill. Their pattern, which was derived from an equation developed by Gaston Julian in 1918, consisted of circles that define 3 intertwined fractals. So this is the field of fractals, right? This crazy design. That's what they're talking about, these diatonic designs. If you look at the actual shapes, these are some of the shapes of all of these crop circles. This is logged by Colin Andrews. This is Colin Andrews' website. So he has tracked a lot of this stuff using his own personal funds over several decades. So if you look here, they basically follow these crazy fractal or geometrically aligned ratios and shapes. You'll see here basically all fractaling, interesting stuff. This one in particular, okay, arguably the most complex one ever made, has actually 22 circles going to the right, if you follow it, 22 spirals, and supposedly 22 spirals going to the left. If you look over here as well, there's some interesting ones with the triangle with pyramids. There's also crazy orbiting ones, as well as very complex designs. The original explanation for crop circles, according to a report in a 1678 issue of News out of Hertfordshire, the devil placed every straw with an exactness that would have taken up above an age for any man to perform what he, the devil, did that one night. More prosaically, the woodcut print that accompanies the report also indicates the stalks within the circle were flattened rather than broken, a practice that continues today. Okay, so flattening the actual stalks. The first scientific explanations of crop circles focus on cyclonic winds. In 1686, the British scientist Robert Plot discussed crop circle formation in terms of airflows from the sky. So cyclonic winds actually became kind of like the go-to mundane answer why these things were being created, right? But it seems like people is probably the best. Such scientific speculations received a severe blow in 1991 when, to the glee of the British media, 2 unassuming men in their 60s declared that they had been creating crop circles for more than 25 years. I mean, who are these people? Their hobby had begun one summer evening in the mid-1970s when artist Douglas Bauer recounted a story to his friend David Chorley about an Australian farmer who had reported a UFO rising into the sky and leaving behind a circular saucer nest. As Bauer and Chorley strolled home from the pub through the English countryside, they created their first imitation nest. So from a witness testimony of Australia, right, a farmer saying that there was a UFO rising from his field and then a circular crop circle. At the height of the debate, no less than a physicist than Stephen Hawking was prepared to accept some version of Meaden's theory. This is about cyclonic winds, etc. When a spate of circles appeared in the countryside near his Cambridge home in 1991, Hawking told a local newspaper that crop circles are either hoaxes or formed by vortex movement of air. So, unfortunately, a lot of it I think is hoaxes, but the mystery deepens. After Bauer and Chorley announced their hoax, the pictographs they created inspired a second wave of crop artists. Far from fizzling out, crop circles have evolved into an international phenomenon with hundreds of sophisticated pictographs now appearing annually around the globe. Like we heard earlier, about one every evening. So crop circle artists have followed the conventions established by their predecessors, creating their pictographs anonymously under the cover of darkness and leaving the scene free of human traces. Wow, thanks for that. Good technique. Now it gets interesting because Colin Andrews, who studied these things for decades, has interviewed the people. And the one thing that he points out is that there is high strangeness related to these events. There's some sort of paranormal stuff going on, at least with the people that are making the crop circles and with the people that are investigating or researching the crop circles. They have noted this by actually their own experiences and through EMF equipment. They're able to record that these crop circles have some weird radiation element. That's actually been recorded by Colin Andrews. Another interesting point here that you can see is biophysicists have interpreted swollen stalks as evidence that the crops were exposed to microwaves during formation of the circles, leading to patented techniques for accelerated crop growth. Look at that. So who said UAP investigations never led to anything? Biophysicists have found that the stalks actually swell in these circles. So they found that the stalks were actually a little thicker than normal and they're bent, right? Not broken, which is also strange. But what's interesting is if you expose these crops to microwaves, then they will increase crop growth by 5 times. And this has led to patented techniques for accelerated crop growth. So if you wonder what's in your food, why everybody's getting cancer, I don't know. We might want to check and make sure that they are not radiating the crops with microwaves, which could easily be happening, because they said in this paper, Physics World, that they get 5 times more crop yield if they are radiated. The other interesting point I found is Colin Andrews says when he talked to 2 guys and asked them why they made the crop circles, they had no good answer. Basically, while they were making a crop circle, they relayed one story. They looked at each other and said, "Hey man, why are we doing this?" And the other guy's like, "I don't know." So this is the official website of Colin Andrews. He's been researching crop circles for a long time. Originally, I talked to Nick Pope. He was the UK MOD in charge of public affairs, really, for hiding, essentially, that they're studying UFOs, but they were. He was completely skeptical on crop circles, but Colin Andrews thinks he is completely wrong, okay, and actually for the wrong reasons. So he has done a ton of research, like I've already mentioned. He says here, after 33 years of investigation, for some, the real unexplained phenomena remains, and it's not about how they are made or by whom. For me, those questions, the most significant real mystery of all, are the high strangeness events which have constantly taken place around the crop circles and those making and researching them from the beginning. He found that 20% of crop circles, they can't actually understand how they're created. Supposedly that would be like the circular ones. This is where maybe a UFO, like we saw, the UFOs make these circular ones and somehow irradiate the ground, maybe with their propulsive force. Okay, or it's all a hoax. But how do you explain the EMF energy there? Or why are these people making them? Okay, so where did they get the idea to go out into a field and make that specific shape? And so what Colin is suggesting here, or he doesn't suggest it, he says it, is that it's related to basically through consciousness. These guys are being told to go do this or played with. There's some sort of trickery of some intelligent consciousness. I mean, think about that, right? I mean, if you are an interdimensional being, if you can communicate and talk through whatever medium to actually talk to people through dreams, through effects, lucid dreaming, when they meditate, maybe you can link to them. Why not just tell them to go build a crop circle or ask them? The final thing is still there. How are you creating it? How is it actually being created? He suggests here, just as a doctor's surgeries have a certain ambient associated with them because of an emotion produced by anxiety or fear, so certain entities interact with individuals. whose attention is focused upon a mystery or the creation of a mystery, the human becomes responsive to another domain. Call that ET or something akin to God. There's no denying the fact that these interactions do exist, and they are profound in the extreme. They are associated with an intelligent process of some kind, albeit often surrounding the man-made crop circles and UFOs. There's a lot in the theory that mankind must first imagine what it may later manifest. Hardened believers who believe beyond all the evidence that the crop circles are constructed by ETs, I believe know the truth privately, i.e. they are made by people. But, as I've said for the last 2 decades, that is where the real mystery begins and not ends. While some people hold out for the ET explanation for actual manufacture, they appear to have deceived themselves as well as the public to the degree that they have missed completely the importance of the common denominator between crop circle artists and sincere truth seekers, i.e. interactive phenomena by an unknown source has been woven into the crop circle fabric and life itself. Humans constructed the likes of Stonehenge, coincidentally, at the center of crop circle activity, and many life-changing experiences have happened to people who have gone to look at them. Very little difference to the crop circles made by talented artists, which also produce life-changing experiences. So this is very interesting. When I researched crop circles, I didn't think I would get to this point, even see that as a possibility. But what if there was some sort of connection to a certain area, certain field, locality, and these crop circles are being formed by people interested in the whole mystery of it? Maybe they're interacting, communicating somehow. We mentioned communication in my last week's video. How are they communicating? And Lou Elizondo says there's many ways to communicate. It looks like the signs are there. Maybe this is one way they're communicating, is by having humans in dreams get an idea and go and build something, building the pyramids. Could that be how the pyramids maybe aligned up to this amazing technologically advanced numbers? How do they line up with the stars? How did the pyramid line up exactly with true north or magnetic north? So very interesting looking into crop circles. So it really does look like it comes from a small area in the UK. That's really where it started with Colin Andrews. But then there is a global movement. When he talks about locations like Stonehenge, you look at Stonehenge as a very old ancient site. How was it built? Why was it built? Could there be some way to communicate? And that's really why I'm also interested in remote viewing. If you haven't heard of remote viewing, basically the US military, the Army, has had decades remote viewing military intelligence program, along with the Central Intelligence Agency, actually does remote viewing, which is just a mind-blowing in itself, and I can't wait to make a video about that. That really is crazy. But what it alludes to is that there's another link. There's some link. Colin Andrews thinks it's consciousness that relates through some other pathway that we can't physically see, right? Which has happened before. Look at electromagnetic radiation. You can communicate with electromagnetic radiation that we couldn't see before. We didn't know it was there. So is this just some other part of our current universe that we don't understand, like EM waves, and we're just going to find it? Or is it a base, something outside of our physical world that we can connect to? All those psychics out there. Maybe there's something to it, and we can test for this scientifically. It looks like crop circle research has just been totally canceled out because people are doing it, right? But why are people doing it? Why are they doing it? Can you imagine if you went and asked some of these guys, hey, why do you make crop circles? And they're like, I don't know. I heard it in a dream. Never wanted to make a crop circle in my life. This is just my initial take on it. It is a big subject, and I was happy to find Colin Andrews' work. So he's basically the pro for crop circles. He's done tons of research on it and written a bunch of books, and his website is quite good. He'll be giving us a speech this summer. I think he'll maybe talk to me after that. Or you have the other side, right? It's totally a hoax, according to Nick Pope. He says it's all people making it. And then even if it is all people making it, it doesn't mean there's no lack of high strangeness related around the events. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being here. Click that like button if you did like this video, if you like this content. Subscribe. If you hit the little bell button, then it'll send you a little notification when I release a new video. Should be every Friday, 1500 GMT. We have something big planned, everybody. We are launching a big project very soon. I'm very excited about it. We are trying to bring decentralized science. We're trying to invent decentralized science and aim it at the UAP problem. So use actual science and fund some actual open source science. Maybe even look at crop circles, do actual science on crop circles, open source, done by whoever can propose a proposal. that we can accept. So please support the channel. Come to my Patreon. Patrons will get first notice of any projects that we're working on. They will get first whitelist access, etc. Plus, I just love the support of Patreons. I'll be speaking at the UFO Disclosure Symposium, 27 to 29 May. There's going to be Travis Taylor's going to be there along with Avi Loeb, Jamie Mawson. It's going to be a big event. We have some cool events planned. It will definitely be exciting. You can use my affiliate link down in the description. It actually helps the channel quite a bit, so they've been very generous as well. Thanks for being here. Take care. Peace.